What's a quick card? A quick card is one that you can put together very quickly and you can duplicate over and over again, changing the materials, changing the colors, but not really changing the layout. That's the whole point of a quick card. Let's see what this is all about. Hi there, I'm Linda Bartolucci and I am a card maker. I am so happy that you are here and we will get to today's project right away. I just want to let you know that all the materials that you're going to see me use today are available in my shop and they are linked below this video. So for now, let's get started with today's project. All right, now let me show you how this card comes together. So the magic of a quick card is that you should be able to repeat this pattern. It's just a layout with just about any materials that you have. The only two things that you need to remember for this one are that these two layers have to be contrasting and you need to get the measurements right. But you're going to have a free download to use to recapture the measurements for this, and I'm going to show you all of them right now. So remember, we started with a 5.5 by 8.5 card, folded in half, scored at 4 1/4 and folded in half. Then we have a little bit then larger layer. We have a 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 layer of garden green cardstock. So that's our darker contrasting cardstock. This could be a black, a brown, a navy, anything dark and deep and rich so that you get a lot of contrast, and you want this to have some pattern to it, some bright color to really bounce off the two. So we're using, to get that bounce and contrast, we're using Parakeet Party, and this one measures 5 1/4 by 4, which is our usual first layer on a card. All right, so the whole trick to this is how we cut this. So the first thing that we're going to do is on the long side, we're going to cut it at 1 1/4. And remember, all of these measurements will be in the download. You can click over to the blog post linked below and just get that download. Then I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off of this. If you're using a Stampin' Up trimmer, this first big mark right here is 1/4, and 2 ticks back from that is the 1/8 of an inch. So that first longer mark there we go. That's 1/8 of an inch. We're just gonna take this off, it's scrap. Then we're gonna rotate it this way and we're gonna cut at 2 3/4. So we're just gonna slice it right there. And then it's dealer's choice, especially if it's patterned paper. Decide which one makes the most sense, but either this end or this end needs to have another 1/8 of an inch cut off. Actually, any of the 4 ends, but one of them needs to have another 1/8 of an inch cut off. So I'm just going to do this one because it's closest and easiest to do. So then one more of the last 2 pieces gets 1/8 of an inch cut off. And then let me bring in, I'm going to set these over here. And let me move this away and show you how, without glue, this is going to come together. So I'm going to have this layer that's just going to have a little bit of Granny Apple Green around. Then we're going to have this layer that's going to have, that's just a little bit of the garden green around on the edges. And then you're going to stack these, lining these 2 up, and then you're going to line these 2 up, as well as these sides. And as you can see, that dark green is popping through and looking beautiful. Obviously, this will be straight once I use glue and get it all together. So that's the next step. We're going to glue these 2 together, and then we'll run them through the embossing folder as one single unit. Then last but not least, we will take all of the die cut pieces and add them to the front of the card. So I am going to glue this so you can see how it comes together, and then I will off camera do the die embossing and cutting, and then we'll put the whole card together. And really, these 2, one is shorter than the other. You can go either way, whatever works for you. And especially if you're using designer series paper, if it's got some sort of a pattern to it and you think it looks better with the smaller one at the top and the bigger one at the bottom, or vice versa, or however you decide to cut that little 1/8 of an inch off, that's fine too. For my purposes, it doesn't matter as much because we're using just plain cardstock. And that's why I'm using an embossing folder, to add some texture to this and make it look a little more interesting. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. Could you just take a moment and click that like button so you can help out a small channel like mine? Thank you. So now you can see I've got texture on this, and then I'm just going to put my hybrid folder together. So this is why I stamped my pieces in this order. I'm going to actually put the die, I'm going to hook it on to the right spots in the folder. Now it isn't moving. Then I'm going to line up my cardstock in the same fashion so everything is lined together. I have all my images inside the dies that are going to cut them. Then I'm going to close the folder and I'm going to run it through as one sandwich just like this. All right, now we have all of our pieces, so let's put this card together. I'm going to do the inside first. We'll add that lime to it in a moment with dimensionals. But first I'm going to glue this to the inside of my Granny Apple Green card base. Remember, I stamped in garden green on the inside of the card for the greeting. That one's done. And now I'm going to add this gorgeous layer. This is the showstopper here. And really, it's all about those measurements. And like I said, you're going to be able to download them. Just click over to the blog that's linked below, and you will find a supply and measurement PDF linked right there. You can download it, save it to your computer, and keep it forever. And this will work regardless of whether you're using dies and embossing folders or designer series paper, whatever you want. The cool thing is it should use up a lot of scraps, which I really think is wonderful. All right, let's do the inside real quick. I'm just going to put 3 on my good size lime here and add that to the inside. And then we will use this line here to decorate the outside. Now you could certainly, there's some other things you could do with this layout. You could definitely use one of these pieces as the mat to a greeting. So you could add a greeting to the front of the card. We're not doing that today, but you could definitely do that. If you had a vertical greeting, your greeting could go right here. If you wanted to add some ribbon, I would tie it around here or maybe around here, depending on what you wanted it to look like. There are so many options. All right, so now we have all of these. I'm just going to make sure the release paper is off. I think we're going to anchor it with our biggest piece in the middle. We'll do this a little bit different than the sample just to give you other ideas. So I'm literally going to go in the middle with that one. Then I'm going to go the other direction, and then I'll put my slice on the bottom. And then in order to tuck these in, we're going to use smaller dimensionals, mini ones, so that it makes it really easy to tuck these in. So it's the same amount of lift, but it's just a little dimensional here, and that way they don't really have to attach underneath. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So I have nothing at the bottom, so I'm just going to tuck it in. Oops, that's a little bit of release paper left. Should be, yeah. There it is, okay. So I'm just gonna tuck it in. It's gonna go kind of far because there's nothing stopping it. And the adhesive here is what's gonna hold the leaf in place. And then we're gonna do that again up on the lime slice and on the lime itself. So we're going to tuck this one in over here. He doesn't wanna, you know what? We're just gonna go this way. There we go. All right. And then the last thing we'll do is pull that one the other way. I'm just gonna put it on the same side, but just go up just for symmetry. So this one is gonna go on this side as well, but it's gonna go more upwards this way. And there we go. There is the front of our card. There's the inside with our have a zesty birthday. Here's the original one right here. So we have completed 3 of our 4 projects for this fun bundle-based class. We have a box, we have an easel fold, and we have a quick card. All we have left to do is the technique card, and that will be coming next week. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial on a quick card. I hope that this is a style of card that you will go off and make on your own. You can find links below to all the materials that we used, as well as a blog post where you can get the layout of the card and all the measurements that we used today. On your way out, if you wouldn't mind clicking that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the notification bell so you know when I post my next video. And now I'm going to put up a couple extra videos on the screen that you may enjoy watching from my channel. Have a great day.